All right, welcome to the regular town council meeting for the town of St. Paul. It's Monday, November the 10th, 7:02. Call to order, please. Starting on this end. Robert? Here. JT? Here. Okay, Justin? Here. David? Here. Larry? Present. And the mayor is here present as well, so we do have a quorum. At this time, if you would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. We have a few general announcements. We have no announcements. Public comments, we're gonna move the order for this meeting. We're gonna go ahead and jump to the zoning board of adjustments meeting, and we will go ahead and do that at this time.
We need to do another roll call.
Yes, we'll have to have a roll call for the board of adjustments. That is correct. Starting at the end, Robert? Here. JT? Here. Justin?
Here.
David?
Here.
Larry?
Here.
And the mayor is present as well. So at this time, we will conduct a public hearing and consider a variance submitted by Ian Shelton, business owner of Groovy Vibes. The property located at 2744 FM 1378, Suite 3, is owned by Country Club Storage. Mr. Shelton is requesting approval to install a temporary illuminated sign for his business. At this time, we have, speaking for that, Ian,
Yes.
if you'd like to address the council.
We have a business at 2744 FM 1378 Free Vibes. We have a sign out there. It's a marquee style sign. It's one of the old school arrow signs, and we're just trying to advertise for business. We're open till midnight. Right now it's off. It's been off for many months since the issue was addressed that it wasn't allowed. So we're here to file the variance in regards to hopefully letting us put it on so we can grow our business in the nighttime and stuff. So the landlord won't allow signs at the property on the building, so that's why we have this temporary sign. And this is the only form of advertising we have, so we really appreciate if we're allowed to have it out there.
Is it currently out there?
Yes, it's on there. It's just not on. That's the problem. And we're sitting in the dark. Customers aren't coming in, so it's kind of hurting us.
So is the request
Just to turn on.
just to be able to illuminate the sign?
Yeah, that's it.
Is there already a sign permit for a temporary sign?
Yes.
Somewhere in the ordinance it says
I wrote it.
it's not allowed for temporary signs, which
Yeah,
kind of doesn't make sense.
the intent of the ordinance was to make sure that we had, a nice looking town and not a bunch of, temporary signs on wheels or off wheels
Yeah.
made out of plastic and flashing bulbs and distracting traffic. So I'm very familiar because I was a part of that. But, so that's the intent. And I guess I understand that you believe your business is affected by it.
And also too,
But
the
is
road
there
run.
any other hardship that you can list besides you believe that your business is being affected?
Yeah, and also the road run is pitch black out there. A lot of coyotes and deer, and we have the only illumination for the motorists passing through too. So it's a safety concern as well. And we're paying $75 a month to have the sign out there, and we just want to be able to turn it on too. That's it. So.
But the sign itself,
Yes.
not illuminated, is there a permit for the temporary sign in place?
There was, it did expire. We've just been kind of letting it go until we can get this resolved. Temporary signs are only good for 120 days out of the year. So the sign would only be illuminated for that maximum allowable time, and then the sign has to be removed.
How long has the sign been there now?
3 or 4 months?
So it's beyond that?
It's past its first 120 days.
So it's no longer a temporary sign?
I'd have to go check the actual dates to be 100% sure, but it's been a few months, yes.
Yeah, I guess so the intent was to allow for people to have situations where they need to get a permanent sign up so that it can match with the ordinance of the town and give them a runway to get that done in 120 days.
Yeah, we have a very unique situation, because like I said, the landlord won't let us put a sign on the roof, like every other retail strip center. That's why we're advising with this one. So, we're just trying to, we want to grow with y'all, we want to attract customers to our business, and at the end of the day, having the sign off doesn't do us any good.
Is it a permanent sign or?
No,
or
it's a temporary sign.
Can the sign be altered in any way?
Yes.
Okay. So
We
it's
can-
not,
It's not cemented in the ground.
it's
or
not a
anything.
logo or,
No. It's where you change the wording on the board.
okay.
So-
Do you happen to have an example or?
Is this the sign here? Do I have it right?
It's,
So,
no, it's a giant yellow sign.
And just to confirm, there is a valid CO
Yes.
The
we have a
CO?
valid CO.
For the building?
for the,
The build, that's it, it's all in the ETJ, so we would not have jurisdiction over the building permits, just the sign.
Just the signage.
None of the businesses there are allowed to have a sign on their business?
No, it's the landlord, he's
Oh,
That's
so
just the way it
it's a
operates.
policy, not a,
like, according to the ordinance, we can have a sign out there on the roof, but landlord won't permit us. He's afraid of holes in the roof and stuff, but he'll get a professional licensed contractor, we won't have the issue.
I believe some of the businesses have signs on the doors, like
Yeah, we have
stickers.
decals.
Decals.
But this is what it looks like, so it's just, this one's got holes. This was, we had a little band out there performing, they wouldn't know. There's nothing too crazy, it's just a little, it's not flashing or anything, it just lights up. Like, so, tried a little band a couple months ago, so. Yeah.
so is there something holding you up from doing a permanent sign or what? I mean, there was a 120-day temporary.
Trust me, we want to do a permanent sign, but landlord won't permit it, so. And according to the ordinance, there's only one permanent sign per, one monument sign per property, I guess, so. It's just, we're in a very tricky situation. And we just want to, attract customers and bring more.
So basically, you're wanting a temporary sign to remain permanent?
No,
To re-up every 120 days?
Yeah, we'll do every 120 days.
well, we've got two
We
issues.
just want
One is
illumination.
the sign
that's all.
itself is no longer appropriate, it's not permitted, and then two, the illumination is. the
Correct.
issue. So there's two issues right now.
Correct.
Is that a residence to the north of the business?
It's right over there by the landscaping, the phallus landscaping.
I'm looking at it, it just looks, is that a residence, or is that an office?
There might be one on the other side of the landscaping business.
It's, the landscaping is owned light industrial, I believe. That's what I heard. So, I don't think any of this is.
This facility is right behind where the new Golden Chick is gonna be.
Yeah.
It's a metal building, it's pretty set back from the road, so you don't always see it unless you're looking for it.
Yeah, I'm looking at maps right now, I'm just wondering if that structure to the north is an actual house, or if it's been converted to some kind of office, or...
Yeah, it probably is, because the two properties, there's the landscaping and then there's another one that's in our town limits that's also zoned light industrial, so I doubt that one is a residence. It's probably an office.
Phallus, yeah. So it says business on the post there.
Do you have planned for the year what verbiage you're gonna put on there since it alters? Or it's expected to change? You said that was a live band, the example.
Oh, that
you
was
showed.
a couple months ago. We just advertised that because we had a band perform out there a couple months ago. Just come out there and jam out. We changed the wording, advertising. It usually says groovy vibes. That's all it says, to advertise a business. I just changed it to live music because the band. That night.
What does it currently say, or do you have a
Right now it just says-
foreshadowed?
Right now it just says, currently it says smoke shop. I mean, I had groovy vibes on there, but I took it off, so. Because we're a tobacco and smoke shop as well, so.
Okay, do we have any other questions for this gentleman?
So there is no application currently though for a sign, not the, I know there's a request for variance for illumination,
Correct.
but is there any, I mean, right now we got a sign that's there that's not supposed to be there, period. Illumination or not, it's not supposed to be there. So what's...
We applied for the permit, I think it was,
It expired back in September.
Okay.
so we
have
paid for
some-
the 2-month renewal, ever.
We applied that fee towards the variance, remember?
I mean, I'm looking at the code, it says allowed for no more than 120 days.
And also too, speaking of the 100, so, like my situation, I can't put a permanent sign out there because the landlord, right? So is there any way we could possibly get an extension past 120 days? We're a brand new business, only been there for 4 months. Having that sign out there is all we got. We're about 150 feet from the road, so we need every possible permit for that to be, yeah. We're trying to help grow St. Paul as well. Want to bring customers, bring in more, tax revenue to y'all and get you to grow, so. And,
But you're aware if you're an ETJ, we don't get any tax revenue from you?
oh, you know, I thought a little bit of local tax money went there.
Nope.
There was originally, the first permit application was for a 2-month time, and he did want to renew at that point, but that's when we discovered the sign was being illuminated. So we put the application to the side, we applied the $150 he paid for the next 2 months to the variance fees, and then that's where we are.
Okay.
So the instructions that we were given, a variance can only be granted if strict application of the zoning ordinance would cause unnecessary hardship. When considering a variance application, the board must require evidence of such hardship. The applicant bears the burden of proving a property hardship and demonstrating that the granting of the variance will not be contrary to public interest. The variance is not granted merely to accommodate the highest and best use of the property, but rather than zoning ordinances prevent any reasonable use of the lot. Financial hardship is not, doesn't meet that definition. I'm not disagreeing with your difficulty. I mean, I understand, but we're only to provide a variance if there is true hardship, and it can't just be financial hardship.
We have a 10-year lease with our landlord, that's a hardship in my book, that's what I believe. We have a 10-year lease and the rent is very expensive.
You feel it is. I'm
That's
just
a
saying from
substantial
our
hardship.
perspective, it's not.
Just a point of order on that issue. You're reading from the zoning ordinance?
I'm reading from our instructions from our town manager.
No,
That's on this.
because there's a different variance provision in the sign ordinance itself, and the standard of review is different. Section 3.0511A sets out the variance procedures and standards for sign variances. And I've been asked to review that in terms of this particular case, but this talks about a substantial financial hardship or inequity to the applicant.
Do you have any financial records that prove that you are in sustaining financial hardship because of the lack of siding?
Yes, we can show you, we have.
Do you have that today?
What's that?
Do you have that today?
No, I don't, not today.
Or a statement from your landlord just saying that he's not going to let you put up a permanent sign.
Absolutely, yes, we can get that. Trust me, we don't want to do the sign, but it's all we have. We just have to improvise because he won't allow it. He's just real old school guy. We can get a statement from him saying he doesn't allow signs on the roof, and he's totally okay with the sign we have. He granted us permission, and we'll abide by the 120-day rule as well. So,
What's the plan after 120 days then?
well, hopefully, is it by calendar year or what's the? So technically, we can renew by January 1st, right?
I believe it's by calendar year. I
So
would
we're
want
gonna
to
renew-
take another look at that, but I believe it's by calendar year. That's the only thing that would make sense to me.
So we plan to renew it ASAP. As soon as.
It'll just be something we'll have to manage.
So I have a question for our attorney. Do we have any citation or any dictation over what verbiage gets thrown on the signage, or should we take that into consideration? I don't want there to,
You can place conditions on the variance that's granted.
because it is a case by case, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Or you could postpone this pending submission by the applicant of whatever additional information is deemed necessary.
Well, I don't know that we can approve a variance to eliminate a sign that's not currently approved. And right now, the sign is not approved, illuminated or not, so I don't, can we even vote on a variance on an unapproved sign?
And I think the variance would have to also grant the allowance of the use of the sign in the absence of a permit.
Which that's not what we're being asked to vote on.
It doesn't sound like that's what the
So-
application is for.
So I don't think we can vote on it.
At this point, do we need to close the public hearing if we're done asking questions, and then we can get on to the discussion part, Mr. Shields?
Yes.
Is that correct? Any other questions for this gentleman?
Any public comments?
This is the only form of act as we have.
Okay.
We're out in the rural part of the area right now, and we desperately need this to help our business grow.
Wow.
Please, that's all we're asking.
Okay, well, I appreciate you coming up
Appreciate
and saying your piece. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
So if we have nobody else at this time, we'll close the public hearing. Do I have to have a motion to close the public hearing?
Yes.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is now closed. Item 4, regular agenda discussion of possible action regarding a variance request from Article 3.05, Section 3.05.004, a Class 2 temporary sign of the town's zoning ordinance, which provides temporary illumination signs per the request of Mr. Ian Shelton, the owner of Groovy Vibes Business. Open for discussion.
I mean, general discussion about the sign in general is that there's not a problem with that land or that building to be able to have a permanent sign put on it. So there's, to me, by definition, not a hardship because you can put a sign on that building or a monument sign in front of it. So that's, I mean, that's my main comment.
You're talking from the landlord's side.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the sign ordinances deal with the property.
What the owner of the property is not, whatever policy that they choose to implicate is not ours.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't, do we allow the illumination for our town's commercial properties to be illuminated?
Permanent one,
Permitted ones?
Yeah, I believe.
Permanent ones.
Permanent one. Well, I'm being asked to vote on something that
You're
I don't feel like I can vote on.
No, you're right.
So, if a new application wants to be for both the sign and an illumination, that, right now, I'm being asked to vote on illuminating a sign that's not approved. So if we want to, if a new request is made where there's an actual request for an extension of a temporary sign, then I'll consider that. But I'm being asked to vote on something that I can't vote on.
So you want to see another application for another,
There needs to be an
1 month,
application
2
for the
months.
sign itself, and you can include illumination in that. But at this point, I can't vote on an illuminated sign. It's not an approved sign.
Do we know when it did expire officially?
it was the beginning of September, like maybe the 5th.
Okay.
And you think it's 120 days per calendar year?
So
I believe
the
so.
reason I ask is because the application date that we have here says dated and posted, date posted and mailed September 29th.
That was for the variance
Okay.
notification.
And it does say allowed no more than 120 days total per property per calendar year.
I want to make sure that the town didn't drop the ball anywhere and it lapsed as on account because of the meetings, the way the meetings run.
Right. It did lapse, and we did notify Mr.
Property
Shelton
owner.
that it needed to be removed. And that's when he filed for the variance.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
So you want me to have him fill out another sign application
Well,
and
we need to determine,
pay
are we
for
gonna
it?
table this, or are we gonna, we either need to put this to
Still
the,
vote.
we either need to put an up or down vote, either a motion for or a motion against, or it sounds like we can table it, looking at the attorney.
Yeah, you can postpone it, or you can vote on it tonight.
Well, if we vote on it tonight and deny it, it would take another application fee to re-up, correct?
Correct, it'd be a different application.
Okay.
I'd be okay if we, amended his application.
Yeah.
Table it tonight and not have to make it back.
I'll make a motion that we table the agenda item for the zoning board of adjustments for 3.1
Okay.
until next meeting.
Do we have to state?
With I guess for Bree and Shelton, for the variance of chapter 14, article 16, section 16-2 for the town codes. In addition, I'd like to also have him provide and amend to update his application to reflect that specifics for signage, verbiage of the signage, what the applicant intends to post on there. Any other conditions that anybody else wants?
I'd like to make sure, that right now it says one temporary sign per property. I'd like to just verify there's not any other temporary signs on the property.
Or any other signage because it sounds like it's a retail setting with multiple locations.
Yes,
There's
it's a
four-
multi-tenant.
There's
Four tenants in there.
It's a multi-tenant situation,
Just-
it already has a monument sign on
Just
the
to make sure
property.
that we're compliant.
Oh, it does have a
Oh,
monument.
it does have a monument.
It has one of those big multi-tenant ones.
But it's small. It's so small, you need binoculars to see it. That's how small. It's
Is
at
that,
least
is that
complete
monument
weight
sign
of the
illuminated?
No. I don't believe so, I
But
don't,
that's,
yeah.
it can be, but that's not a hardship.
That permit was made.
Right.
I don't believe so. I drive by there at night all the time. I haven't seen the big multi-tenant illuminated.
That changes things.
Change thing.
You wanna withdraw it?
Can I withdraw I'd like to withdraw my motion. I think this one through.
Would you like to amend your motion? or
I officially withdrew my
Okay.
motion.
Do we have another motion?
I don't see a solution if there's a monument sign on the property already.
Would you like to make a motion?
You give me just 60 seconds, Mayor.
Okay, not a problem.
There's the monument sign. There is a monument sign. I understand that the size might not be monumental. However, there is a permit.
It'd be for the landlord.
Is that the one with the light on it, on the top?
I cannot tell,
I don't think it has a light on.
but it says country club storage on it. With multi-tenant, I do see the spots of multi-tenant.
There's a light on top of it, pointing.
So there's a lot of them?
Right up there. I haven't seen anything on the ground.
JT?
You you have further?
I withdrew my motion.
Okay.
I don't need any further time. I already got my
Okay.
answer. There's a monument sign.
Okay. Anyone else?
Just want to take it straight up and down vote then?
Yes.
Robert, what say you?
Well, what's the motion?
We're taking a vote on it?
Nobody's.
We have to make either a positive motion or a negative motion. We can't just vote.
Correct.
Yeah, so somebody has to motion.
I'll make a motion that we deny the permit, the request for the variance in section 3.1.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
So that was unanimous,
Yes.
just to be clear.
But we close the zoning board of adjustment meeting.
That's your motion?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, zoning board of adjustments meeting is now closed. Thank you for your time. Appreciate your
Justin, you
input.
seconded that?
Yeah, yes, that's fine.
Should we reopen the regular meeting?
Yeah, at this time, we'll reopen the regular town council meeting. We have some public comments from Yardley, however, we have Yardley on the agenda. So if you don't mind, I'll just, when we get to your particular section, we'll let you come up at that time and just cover it all as one. So, so we have no other public comments at this time. The consent agenda, item number 5, will be considered for approval through a single motion that includes routine items that are typically non-controversial in nature. Any item on the council agenda may be removed for separate discussion at the request of a council member, the town administrator, or any member of the public. So if you'll take a look at 5.1, 5.2, and 5.3, it's review of the September 25 monthly financial report. 5.2 is consider approval of minutes from the regular council meeting from October 13th. And then 5.3 is consider approval of WOPAC's estimate 2932 for additional work associated with the estimate 2921.
Alex, you may not know the answer to this.
I'll try.
On page 3, Scott said that additionally in September, a $100,000 transfer was made from the tax pool account for the WOPAC. Looks like the WOPAC was less than 50, the original was less than 50 grand.
I would assume that he transferred the 100,000 to cover the 50 plus additional expenses, but I can find out if you would like.
I'm just curious about why 100,000 for,
Yes, I can find out for
it
certain.
was twice what the original invoice was for.
believe, and we're already done the crack seal. They did that the other day.
Where are just the normal financials?
This is what was in the packet
Uh,
that was provided.
And I'm gonna recommend that we don't approve the consent agenda because all the financials aren't in here.
Can we approve parts of it, do the call out, or we do 5.2 and 5.3, but not 5.1?
Yes.
We've got highlights of financial, from the financial reports, but we don't actually have the financials.
Right.
So I don't think we should approve it.
I agree.
Would you like to put a motion?
I'll make a motion that we don't approve the September 25 monthly financial
Well,
report.
so let's just, I'd suggest that we, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go right ahead for it.
Mr. Dryden, I would suggest that we, if you'd like, I'd motion it to approve 5.2 and 5.3 and not approve 5.1.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
I'd like to motion that we approve 5.2 and 5.3 of the consent agenda.
Okay, do I have a second?
Do you want to clarify?
And do not approve 5.1.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries for 5.2 and 5.3 being passed. Moving on to regular agenda items, let's see if we can. So discussion possible action regarding a proposal from KSA to provide professional engineering services in the role of program manager for the town-owned roadways and drainage facilities. Robert, I believe this was your item
Yeah.
that came up originally?
Yeah, we talked about it when you were on the conference call last time around. And again, the intent is to figure out how to better manage our roads and not, until at the same time offload the amount of work that our staff has to do. And so, in the time that I've been on the council with 4 different town secretaries / administrators, we have not been able to do major projects with the exception of Drain Drive and St. Paul Road, and those were done with the county running it. So I would submit that we are not good at running roads and drainage. So that's why I would like to be able to augment our ability to get that done by subcontracting the services of KSA in this case. And we could talk about other options, but KSA has been a company we've been using for a while, and they understand our situation. They're pretty intimate with it. To be able to do that work and thereby hopefully freeing up our staff to be able to do other things. They're still, certainly the staff is still going to be involved with kind of oversights and making sure things are getting paid. And that generally the communication is still going to be there, and they're still going to be able to make sure that things are covered, that citizens let them know about, and work with KSA. They would be completely devoid of any kind of work around the roads, but hopefully this would greatly free up their time and increase our ability to address road situations in the town. So with that, can we have Abiel address us, or any other comments?
I know in the past, I believe, I don't know, how long have you been the engineering for St. Paul?
Meaning KSA?
Yes.
Yeah, so KSA, I think since our general services agreement dates back to 2015.
Okay.
There was my predecessor, he has been working with the town since then, or maybe before then.
Okay.
That's the earliest that I traced back an actual agreement.
Okay, so the only reason that I mention that is, I know when Leanne was here, I've talked to Scott over the last year, the way it used to be worked, at least for roads, not drainage, and by the way, some of your information is great, was WOPAC, who does the roads, would usually get with the town administrator and ride the streets, and they would do asphalt repair in the fall, let's say, and crack seal and whatever in the spring. And so it was up to the town secretary to put that on a calendar, get a hold of WOPAC, who would come out, ride the town with the town secretary, come up with a proposal of what needs to be done, and then get it taken from there. So my question is, and again, for drainage and things of that sort, I think KSA is right on target with where we need to go, possibly. But I think the roads, It's been the same way, asphalt roads repaired in St. Paul for 3 different town secretaries now. So the question is it we need Abiel, or is it we need to make sure that our town administrator is just putting it on a calendar and taking a look at it at each seasonal? Because I know Adam has told me before, and you could probably elaborate on that, when the temperature is a certain thing is when they want to do certain kind of repairs with the roads here in St. Paul. So again, that's just a calendar issue as far as roadway goes. And so when I looked at your budget or your proposal to do this, it's like almost a year's worth of road maintenance. And I'm not faulting you. I'm just saying it's a year's worth of road maintenance. We could double up and then use you for drainage if that's the case and still come ahead of the game. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, I guess you lost me at the end.
I'm sorry.
All the way up until the very end, I heard you making a case not to use KSA, so what are you saying?
Well, for roads, yes, just.
Well, I mean, the only thing I'll say too is I'm not talking, I think we're talking apples and oranges, because I'm not talking about crack seal and potholes. I'm talking about being able to actually move the needle and do some of the work. So I was riding in the car with a friend of mine, and we ended up hitting the end of St. Paul Road where it turns into, it's like he said, it seems like this is going from Texas into Oklahoma. You know, it's kind of ridiculous. And you guys, aren't you guys in charge of this part of the road? I was like, yeah.
But
it is, it's really cool.
And I agree with you, I'm just saying.
It's because crack seals and patches aren't, bubble gum patches and just, you know, trying to make do is not gonna work, especially as we move forward.
Well, again, that still
These
fits
roads
in
have to
with,
be replaced.
that still fits in with what I'm trying to say, which is get the town admin or representative to ride with, say, Wolfpack about the roads.
Right.
But put it on a regular calendar
Right.
to get done. This year it took over a year to get the first thing moving.
Right.
That we can't do with asphalt. We have to sit on top of it.
And then we get to hear about how they're so busy and they can't get anything done. They got all these people calling them, I mean, over and over again. I've heard from 4 different town administrators that they just don't have time to do this kind of thing. And that's why I mean, it's very clear to me, in my experience in this kind of stuff, that we need to outsource this. Very clear.
And again, I'm not saying it wouldn't be a nice gesture. I'm just saying it's about a year's worth of road maintenance that we pay now, just to have somebody oversee it on top
But
of.
we don't get it done. We usually put about $250,000 into roads and we spend about 150 maybe. Last year it was like, what, 80?
Can I ask a few clarifying questions? So Abiel, thanks for this. In your proposal, are we able to pick and choose pieces from this, or is this is what we would have to do, and this is?
Yes, Counselor, and that's a great place to begin with understanding how I put things together. First of all, our proposal tries to capture the discussion from the last meeting from October 13th of Counselor Simmons' desire for like a staff augmentation type service. And included in there is Counselor Trevino's items 1 and 2 of having an assessment done. So those are included. But you're exactly right. It is intended to be like how you might hire a contract employee that's at will, meaning that that person might be completing tasks, and at any time if you feel like it's not something that was worthwhile, then the contract just ends. And so that's why I was careful in the budget to put together what are estimated expenses if you saw through a conservative level of effort throughout a year. But you can scale that back, you can scale it up. It's intended to be at your discretion. Above all else, my intent is to make sure that I don't lock you into something that is not meeting your expectations or your level of effort especially. Meaning that I'm not over expensing, doing things that are outside of the bounds of what you set for this effort, etc.
And nothing in your fee proposal is part of an existing scope that we already have contract for. So for example, like in September, I think the engineering fees were like 20 grand. I know there was some extra work involved with some boundary maps or something, but that's additional. I mean, stuff that is normal and recurring every month is additional to this, correct?
Yes, and Yes, but I did include an estimate of the typical expenses associated with doing your run-of-the-mill plat reviews,
Is that number 4?
drainage reviews. That's item number 4 on the fee
Okay,
proposal.
okay, so that,
Just
so
to
number
give you a
4 is
picture.
part of our current budget.
That's correct, because
Okay, that's
because
what I
also
was
the way I'm putting this, the way we're assembling this proposal together and the way we would propose to activate it is through the contract that we already have, which operates by you requesting a service or a task, and then us creating what we call a phase in
So,
that.
so 1 and 2 are just single,
Yes,
projects.
those are
but
one-offs.
really the incremental budget issue would really be number 3.
That's correct.
Okay, so that's different than just,
So to answer a question about the discussion, if the direction, this effort could take a shape where I might have assumed a task that is recurring, that you say, well, not this, or maybe not this for the first 6 months, and if we need you, we can activate you, and then deactivate you if staff's time clears up. So you have that total flexibility to month, decide how to shape this.
Sure.
Shape this.
so Robert, I agree with you that we're not getting the job done, and it's either limitations on staff not having enough time to do it, which either means we gotta hire somebody, contract with somebody, or contract with KSA to do it. I mean, those are the 3 choices that I see.
Or take it out of the budget and just make sure that people are clear we're not gonna do the work.
Well, that's not an option.
I don't think it is, but
Well,
I just want to point out the absurdity that every year we don't get this done. Every year. Not a single year have I been on
And
this
all I'm
council
saying is, I
where
think
we've got
that's,
the roads done.
I think that's on us to make sure that our staff is taking care of, we're just talking roads, if that's all we're talking. Again, WOPAC's out here twice a year. 2 times a year, I'm sure that staff can find enough time to deal with 2 times a
Okay,
year.
that's fine. I just want.
That's just my opinion.
A longer term vision though, and to be able to
Okay.
do things that we.
Agreed on that for projects,
Yeah,
yes.
the larger
absolutely.
projects, that kind of thing. If we can actually get the work done, I don't mind having staff do this, but again, over and over I hear from staff, not necessarily the person in the room right now, that we just don't have the time, gotta answer phones, there's just too much going on. And this is not just one person, this is 4 different people that have been very clear that they can't get the work done.
Is that 4,000 a month in number 3, is that, come back to some kind of an hourly rate estimate?
Yes, and our rate sheet is included in the contract. That was my best guess based on the discussion of the typical tasks that would add up to.
Yeah, so how many
It's a bit
hours,
conservative.
per month do you think that would be included in that?
Well, it's not that it's, how many hours
Yeah,
you
just
get
for number,
per thousand?
just for number
Sure.
3.
That would be about, it's about 30 hours of time. It depends on the mix of a more senior person like myself, or if there's
So
some
7 to 8
assistance.
hours a week, give or take.
Give or take.
Okay. From the staff's perspective, is there 7 to 8 hours a week that can be carved out, or are you guys at capacity?
I think it kind of depends on what you're wanting. Are you guys just wanting to continue filling potholes and sealing cracks, or are we talking
If we're talking,
redoing roads?
I think if we're talking what we currently, I'm sorry, go right ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to just cut you off, but if I just use some of the verbiage that Mr. Abiel has generated for us, there's going to be an assessment of poor, I read it in here, it's poor,
It's
fair,
good, fair, and poor.
good, fair, and poor. You do good, fair, and poor?
Just like rating all the roads, good, fair, and poor?
Do we have anybody on staff that's qualified to do that?
And that was the other thing, that's the
No,
next.
you would have to use an ABL or an Adam
Right.
from WOPAC
Right.
to be able to do something like that.
So you gotta do it anyway.
And that was my.
Yeah, because if we're just talking about continuing to do the repairs that we've been doing, like, sure, I could go ride in the car with them and, look around, but am I really qualified to make the decision that the road needs to be
Good, fair, and
addressed?
poor is the.
I mean, I can look at it and say, hey, it's got some
Right.
holes in
And
it.
we all can do that, I
No,
get
no,
that.
but.
And I do want to save money, by the way, but again, and I'll recite it like I've been doing in a lot of meetings, and it's grown over the years. It started around 1.5 million. We're up to 2.4 million in the bank. And that is money that we have taxed away from our citizens, and that is money that we need to figure out how to use for the betterment of the town. And so that's part of the reason, that two of the main things that we do, that we have to manage, that we don't outsource, is the roads and the drainage. Those are the two big things that we have to do. Of course, the fire protection and police control, that's something we already outsource, and that's because we've actively chose to do that. If we're gonna have one, I guess, are you full-time now?
Yes.
Full-time, so we have 2 full-time people. If we're gonna have 2 full-time people, and we can't get to those things, or they're not qualified for it, then we either, to Mr. Dryden's point, staff up, the staff here to do that, and hire people that are qualified to do that kind of engineering work, or we should find some help, and I think we have some help.
So we could proceed with number 3 and monitor it for effectiveness, correct? I mean, it's not a set contract, it's just an addendum to what we already have, correct?
It's just like a pre-authorization on a contract that you already have to get started on something that you can end at any time. That's the way it's set up.
Is it not to exceed, would you say it's like a not to exceed on that average that you put down?
I tried to frame this as an estimate, like a high estimate of what you might expense, but the contract allows for, if you ask us to continue doing more and more,
Right.
that you can exceed it.
Okay.
But I would be, if that's the feedback of making sure to set limits, then I would set up in our accounting system some triggers to make sure that, hey, we're approaching, you're at 30%, 40%, 50% of the set not to exceed, for
And do
example.
you see a monthly, just, this is how much time I spent, or is it more detailed than that with, we spent 2 hours, but we drove the entire town, and, I mean, how detailed is the reporting back from you to the town?
Each month?
Yes.
Our invoices for time and material services are broken down by the number of hours that each staff member spent. And since our type of service is that we sell our time, then the way we code our timesheets, for example, each one of our staff members has to put notes of what they worked on, why. And so at any time, we are able to generate, I'm able to generate like mini reports of, okay, this many hours went to this many hours went to this other effort. That's how we break down our invoices currently for reviews of plats, for example. Take the Yardley. There's a phase in our contract on our invoices that is literally called Yardley Development. And then town staff can review how many hours went to that review. And at any time I can, if there's a question for a certain week, I'm able to pull up our timesheets and see what tasks were actually expensed. So reviewed for submittal, or attended a meeting, or et cetera.
And would it be reasonable for us to have them maybe they don't have to come every month, maybe they come in person quarterly, but at least monthly, give us some bullet points on what was done?
We can
In
ask
addition to the-
staff to give us the report.
Yeah, or just, well, again, I'm trying to offload staff. I would think that they could give us a bulleted report of what they built, because you gave us the billings on what you billed us for, but maybe a little bit more depth on what was done under those bullets, more than just a line item on a bill, like maybe, paragraph or something like that. That kind of gives us
$133 an hour.
I understand that, but we need to, that way, well, I guess what I'm going is that way we as council, because I think we need to be involved in managing it. I'm not letting them just have the whole budget and go do it open loop. They need to close loop back with us on a regular basis, probably monthly and quarterly, on what progress they're making and whether or not we know how to turn up the volume or turn it down if we want to back off.
Well, we get a monthly report of hours used with a brief description, so I don't think that's too much to ask the staff to include that in our,
Oh, sure.
in our
Yeah.
monthly reports.
Yeah.
So we can monitor it that way.
Pass through, I'm fine with. I'm just asking that staff not be in charge of writing a report for KSA who needs
Oh, no, yeah, that's not what I'm at.
Okay,
That's
gotcha.
why I was asking Abiel if his report gave any description of the time, or if it was just number of hours.
Yes, it would be, I'm able to, for different clients, we put together different reportings to fit what is needed. And so I totally understand what you're looking for out of this, especially at the beginning, where you're looking to see how it's going. And so the reports would match. And since it's going to be a custom report, if at the after the first one, you say, hey, I want more detail on this, then on the next one, you'll see that additional detail, even if it's retroactive on something that was already reported on. But you are touching on something that I was already going to make sure to propose, which is because this role places us a bit in a kind of a lateral position to staff, I do want to make sure that we are never operating on outside of the bounds of what you want to see. So yes, I'm very sensitive to not expensing a bunch of stuff that then you are grilling me on the next month when you get the invoice, for sure.
Larry?
I think before we go forward, you see the budget impact on this, what it's going to do to our forecasted budget.
I don't, right now, we're not spending all the budget that we've got budgeted for roads anyway.
What's the budget for the roads, if you don't?
Is that covered?
I think Den's gonna take it down when we redid the
Close
budget.
it down a bit.
A little bit of it.
It's still got to be close to 200 something.
Was it 250, 225?
It's somewhere.
And we've certainly got accruals from years past on.
So the reason I ask is, you know that the trials that we consistently go through year on end, right? If given a dollar figure, our budget for this year, let's assume that it's 225,000. Okay. Do you think that you could maximize the effectiveness, knowing already because of the assessment of the roads, you could utilize that quickly and provide it and juggle multiple projects as we roll into next year's budget and going on and so on and so forth. That way there's, right, because projects take time. So they you don't just work on one project and then move on to the next. And you guys handle that project management.
Yes, that would be a part of the service that we provide to put together a plan and be able to give you a time frame of, okay, if there's 225,000 set for fiscal year 2026, then we would anticipate to, just as an example, bring recommendations out of the updated study towards in the winter, and then get your approval in the late winter. And then another good point is that if the projects are going to get bigger past 50,000, then you need to put it out to bid. There's a procurement, which that is an additional staff time that we could take over. And then and so that we would give you a timeline of, okay, next summer it's a $200,000 project versus $50,000 because we're trying to keep it under the threshold. So that would be.
Isn't it 100,000 now?
It is.
The
Yes,
procurement
I'm sorry.
threshold?
Yes, I'm so used to it being.
I know.
But yes, the point being that now you're looking at a procurement effort that means putting together bids and things like that.
So part of the reason, you'll see,
Give it a chance. Yeah. So
so part of the, I want to submit that part of the reason you see franchises, even for things that are somewhat complicated, do well, is because they turn that franchise into a turnkey. And when people come into that job, they'll turn over people a lot, right? You'll have somebody go through that as a starting their career, like, McDonald's or, Chick-fil-A or something like that, and they'll move on to another job. And we've definitely had a rotation of staff come through here. We need to make that staff role as turnkey as possible so that they don't have to worry about the intricacies and the complications of budgets and bidding and long-term projects and chip and seal and all that kind of stuff. That's where I'm going, because I want to make sure that we can not only can we get people in who could easily pick up and turnkey work that job, but that they enjoy the job because it's not such a headache and they don't have to come to us and say, mercy, because I've got way too much on my plate. I got way too many things going on. They can say, yeah, we got it under control. KSA is helping us out a lot. That's what I'd like to see in the future.
I'm not opposed to it in principle, don't get me wrong, I'm just looking for the impact of that. The other thing I've heard a couple of times is there's 2.5 in the bank.
Would you like me to read you the numbers?
140, go ahead.
Yes, so for the amended fiscal year 25-26 budget, for annual maintenance, there's $96,000, and for major projects, there's $110,000.
200 grand.
About, yeah.
Okay. And there's 114 for Avial services.
Okay.
I agree with Mr. Simmons. I do think that it would help to get somebody dedicated to help give us a more proactive approach on this stuff. Because right now, we're not seeing it.
So, again, I'll go back to the only thing I'm concerned about is making sure we balance out, we've got, I hear 2.5 in the bank, that's great, but that 2.5 is also paying a good part of our income to the city on interest. So it's something we'll have to.
And that's where you get into other options that, like I say, you can present to us about ways to finance and whatnot. And then we can prioritize, and hopefully they can help us with some of the prioritization, what has to be done versus be nice to have.
I think if we can keep it under control, that would be the challenge, to keep it under control.
Well, the proposal says we can discontinue that part of the service at any time.
No, I'm not saying that we can, I'm just saying it's the temptation of just picking up the phone and calling Aviel every time, and all of a sudden, it gets expensive. So, staff is still gonna have to help. So, any other questions for Aviel?
Hopefully not help too much though, and hopefully it's just a call saying, hey, could you look at this road, here that it's got a pothole, or what's the long, what county called us and they want to partner with us on Drain Drive, which will come at some point again.
Yeah.
And, could you get a hold of the county and that kind of stuff, not like half a day trying to figure out what to do about something, more of just a tag team. Like I said early on in this discussion when we brought this topic up, is you're still going to be in communication with both us as the council and the staff.
Then if I could, one thing on that, when we've helped on similar efforts, as you may know, we help with like city engineering type services for a lot of communities. We find that at first there's an initial push for ramping up the services, and then since some of the things are very repetitive, then you kind of need us less, and so the expenses kind of go down because, for example, I might work with Alex on a spreadsheet for managing something. Well, at the beginning, I need to create the spreadsheet and kind of work with, sit here and for a couple hours. But then the next month, I can do it myself because I already set up a spreadsheet for it. Things like that, that just kind of, to your point about establishing some standard operating procedures and then the tools that we can help create. So I would expect that if we have a successful relationship this year, that next year this contract is half because it's kind of doing what we did last year, and it's familiar to staff, and Wolfpack is kind of in line with the way we're working now, and just things like that I foresee. But to your point, Mayor, on items 1 and 2, you might notice that I'm trying to be very careful with having narrow scopes that are scaled to the town. So, for example, the roadway assessment, there's a spectrum of what that means. On one end, the city of Dallas will turn it into a science project because they have hundreds of miles of roadway, and they have specialized equipment, these vehicle-mounted lasers that analyze each crack, and there's a computer model that analyzes everything. I'm talking about driving around and using my judgment to classify the roads because that's the level of effort that you need.
Right.
And so I am very sensitive to just scaling things down to something that, getting to something that is practical that you can use, not a 500-page study that then will sit on a shelf. So I am sensitive to your message of making sure to scale things down to a point where, okay, work on it, but then make it usable. So it's kind of the intent there.
I'm good with giving it a try.
I mean, we can always do that.
I will.
Okay. Any more discussion, Larry?
No.
Okay. Do we have a motion? Anyone want to make a motion?
I'd like to motion that we accept the proposal from KSA for management of town road and drainage.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Abigail.
Yeah, thank you.
Stick around, Aviel. We're gonna move 6.3 in place of 6.2 since you're here.
That makes sense.
Discussion and possible action regarding KSA proposal for service related to observing the construction of the Yardley development. Did Scott fill you in on that?
Yes, and I put together a proposal. Similarly, it would be a service that's based off of our general services agreement, but I tried my best to give you the pace of expense, again, narrowing the scope to make sure it fits what your goals are. But in short, what our proposal describes is assisting the town with construction observation services of the parts of this project that's going to be presented after this item, the parts of that project that may impact the town. And so what I mean by that is, I know that the project is completely in the ETJ, so it's under the county's jurisdiction, but it touches properties that are in the town. Some of the drainage schemes involves transferring some flows away from the town, but in the vicinity of the town. So for example, our construction observers, what we call RPRs, resident project representatives, would come out and with the approved construction drawings in hand, look to see that those parts are being built to plan, and if they don't seem to, then it would trigger a discussion with the town to then get with the developer. The reason that I'm so careful to talk about where the project touches the town is because a full construction inspection service would involve a more traditional situation where you might have a residential subdivision inside the town that's going to build roads that are going to be owned and maintained by the town. So in that case, you're inspecting lab reports. You have an inspector out here making sure that they're observing the road base being compacted. You're looking at the rebar. You're out here day, and if they're working at night, then at night. And so it's very different. This is private. All the infrastructure will be private, except the few areas that touch the county. And so our scope is limited to watching out for the town.
So in all of that, the RPR, would they have, so they would have a fiduciary responsibility to us, but doesn't Collin County have a fiduciary responsibility to us as well in the event that anything that they do impacts the town of St. Paul?
I'm not sure if the responsibility falls exactly on the county. Ultimately, if the developer were to do something that is not on the approved plans and it has a negative impact, then the developer would be on the hook for that. But yes, there is a little bit of a dependency on having a good relationship with the county to make sure that your interests are watched out for by the agency that is approving the project ultimately.
Right, so ultimately the RPR would report back to us, and then we would have the responsibility to go back to the county and state that there's XYZ going on.
Yes, because they are the authority that has jurisdiction over the project. And you don't have any, there aren't any public facilities inside the project. It's all private roads. It's a home rental, so there's not public facility there.
The drainage is pretty much what we're, in our ETJ, what we're looking at here, right, is drainage?
Yes, that's your main, that's always been
But
your main.
according to the drainage study, everything goes to the northeast, away
That's
from the
correct.
town. So why is this really a concern for us?
I can tell you, so it came up at P&Z. P&Z was, when they were looking at your plat, and they were just wanting to make sure that the drainage, like we've had some other places around here, didn't get out of control, and they were thinking, couldn't we bring an IVL in every 6 months to double check it, to review it, whatever, not a monthly ongoing investigation.
Well, this is a weekly.
I understand, that's where it started with P&Z. They weren't aware that it was going to be this in-depth, not saying it's not good.
No, that's the.
And so that's the background on how this came about. So I will let y'all debate it from there.
I don't think it's a wise use of resources.
I agree, since it goes to the north,
900 per week. It's excessive.
4,000 a
Yeah,
month.
Mr. Abio, in your opinion, do you think that the financial burden that, if any, puts, I guess, the financial uptake that this is going to have on the town of St. Paul, do you think it's beneficial for the town of St. Paul to have these services?
I think a more limited involvement would meet your needs. So for example, having 1 or 2 visits during the rough grading of the project, which that kind of sets the stage of how things are going to be drained. Basically just making sure that the water is leaving the town. And then another visit at the end, when everything is done, and that's when you would see things like maybe the plans showed a perfect tie-in at the adjacent lots, but now suddenly there's a slope pointed in a way that drains to a town resident. And so the opportunity would be to catch that before the county accepts the improvements. But I agree that, I put it together based on what I understood what the feedback was from planning and zoning staff. But I agree, as much as I try to limit it, our RPR work is expensive, and it involves somebody driving out, being here for a few hours, and they'd be observing things that they don't really have a jurisdiction over. And so I think a more limited scope like that, which in that realm, it would just be somebody like me or one of our senior construction inspectors to be out here for those milestones. And in that case, then it's more in line with what you pay for review services, about $1,000 a visit.
Do they have an obligation, they meaning the property owner, the site manager, do they have an obligation to even allow you to be on, to go on site? Could they deny that request?
I think the developer would be open to allowing this to happen in the interest of being good neighbors to the town. But I think via the county, we would have, be able to get that authority.
And how many weeks worth of work under this new proposal,
You know,
do you think?
I don't have the construction schedule, and that's why I put it together by week, but I'm glad that it's matched up to the next item, so that maybe the gentleman behind me can answer that question of how many weeks the
You're gonna
construction
be
is done.
in the town more frequently now.
Yes, and that's another good point, that it can be that I can match up some of those quick site visits with.
So if there's a
other
concern that
opportunities.
somebody brings up, or.
It's a run over, half an hour, come back, and the only expense is a half hour.
Okay.
If y'all don't mind, I can add some clarity for y'all. I'm just supposed with the developer. Development schedule is roughly 3 years. 1 year for horizontal development, 2 for vertical. That answers.
It does, and the 1 year would be the one you're concerned about. The vertical, that doesn't impact the town.
Okay.
So I'm more receptive to something like that for milestone visits versus,
Yeah.
versus
Agreed.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I make a motion that we reject 6.3, or say no to 6.3.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Larry? Okay. Motion.
Thank you.
You second?
Motion to deny. So we now move to 6-2, discussion of possible action regarding the St. Paul Yardley final plat.
Do we need to yell anymore?
I don't know that do we need you for the final plat on the Yardley?
I reviewed the plat, so if there are any
I
questions.
saw
from
your
the town
comments,
side, I don't mind staying an extra 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
just for a few, if you don't mind. Go right ahead, sir.
All right. Yeah, so I represent Taylor Morrison / Yardley. Unfortunately, there's an E in this Yardley. We don't have an E in ours. But today we're presenting our plat for our development. I believe we've accomplished all the zoning ordinances related to the site. It is going to be a 151 unit, single family for rent community, all on one lot, owned and maintained by one owner. I'm happy to answer any questions y'all have related to it, but I think this is meeting all the zoning or the ordinances that the city has.
Where's that at, bud?
It's right down the street, right next to Inspiration.
And Abiel, we're told that the town engineer has no adverse comments and recommends approval,
That's correct.
including the drainage study.
That's correct.
Any questions?
I think just a statement is that we don't have a whole lot of say what happens in ETJ, since it's outside the boundaries of the town. This is really about, as we said earlier, the drainage and the roads portion, right? And that's what the engineers have reviewed.
I saw something about a sign here.
Abiel, if the drainage study, this master drainage study, let's say there's a massive error, like there was with the public storage that is now dumping water on our citizens from another town. What recourse does the town have, do you know? I mean, professionally?
If there's damage, it would be a lawsuit for damages.
Okay.
In the one case he's talking about, would be a lawsuit against the county who oversaw the engineering or against the owner of the establishment?
It would be the developer that caused the
Okay.
development, basically.
Okay.
Larry, to answer your question about the signs, he's just pointing out that when the development's ready for signage, they'll have to come through us,
Okay.
since we do have control over signs in the
Got
ETJ.
it. I just saw it in yours, wondering what that was for.
You have something, JJ?
No.
Yeah.
The detention pond's right at an acre? Is that what it's,
That sounds about right.
is that where that pond is now?
It's a little bit more to the northeast corner.
Okay, gotcha. So that public storage, that storage, whatever that is, that's gonna be leveled, all that's going?
The neighbor right next to us doing the trailer park?
No,
The boat
but-
storage, I
Oh, yeah,
believe.
it's gonna be gone.
What was the agreement, how did you guys get the sewer to come in? Were you getting sewer?
Yes, so we're getting our sewer and water from Wiley Sud. We're extending it through Texas right away to our site.
Okay.
And we're currently in review.
Where
for
are you
that.
tying on with? Where,
There's a manhole right at corner of Inspiration that we
you're
can
going
tie
down there? Okay,
Mhm.
I got you.
So
Yeah,
to the
They're
front
on the
of
other side of
the
Aztec.
And we'll be boring under the road to get there.
Three that we had put in as an agreement.
More questions for this gentleman?
So what are we being asked to take action?
For the final plat, I believe approval of the final plat. With ABO's recommendation on the engineering for drainage.
I mean, we're not asked to speak to anything else, we don't have any authority over it, it's really just
Correct.
impact to the town. So does a motion have to be made?
Yes, to accept the final plat.
As much as the high density component bothers me, I'll make a motion that we accept the final plat, 6.2.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank y'all.
Thank you very much for being here, I appreciate it.
Absolutely, guys. Have a good night.
6-4, discussion of possible action on ordinance number 292-25-11-10, approving the 2025 tax roll certified by the chief appraiser. I believe that's one of the documents I gave you, is that correct, Clark? Or was it not? No, I've got it here.
It's a routine ministerial act that you're required to do by statute.
Correct.
I'll make a motion that we approve town council ordinance number 292-25-11-10, adopting the 2025 certified tax roll as presented by the Collin County Tax Assessor Collector.
I'll second.
Okay, Simmons is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I didn't finish.
6-5,
Hang on.
oh, I'm sorry.
Larry hasn't voted.
Okay, sorry, Larry. Aye, okay. Again, motion carries. 6-5, discussion possible action on ordinance number 291-25-10-13, amending the budget for fiscal year 25-26.
Who want to address that? Should I?
And so this was necessary to basically balance the budget against the tax intake since we, as an organization, decided to lower the rate.
That's correct.
So basically, there were two things that Scott adjusted according to his memo: annual maintenance and major projects.
No, I mean, in the memorandum, it also states that councilman members Graham and Trevino indicated that they had additional questions. I never had any additional questions, unless it was, why did we take so long? Why is there so many?
Did by zero, I remember that.
Yeah.
There's some errors.
Mistakes and errors on the budget, given that there was ample time to work on the budget, and why all these mistakes were submitted. So
Not so much questions as pointing out
Statements.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So, do we need to table this with additional questions to Scott?
I think that we need to go ahead and, like I was saying last time, I think it's pretty important that we balance the budget against what our tax intake is going to be, or what
I can try to answer questions. I did review this pretty heavily at the end of last week. Scott sent it to me and asked if I could proofread it. I fixed some of the formulas, did a couple things in there, so
well, thanks for that.
it should be pretty tightened up if you guys want to look at it.
Those questions were more about performance procedure type things.
would
So not necessarily what your work.
Okay.
But I think we could move forward. I mean, we could still bring this back up to address the performance and procedure type questions later.
Right, but when it comes to the actual budget itself, we can move forward with the budget, but just, again, I wanted to make sure that we were clear, since there was directives in here stating that I had questions. I can't speak for you, Mr. Graham, but I did not have any questions revolving around the budget. It was strictly.
I'm good.
I can make a motion.
Go for it.
Yeah.
You want to make a motion?
Yeah, if everybody's ready. Larry, you ready? I would like to motion for item 6.5 that we approve ordinance number 291-25-10-13, amending the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget.
Okay,
I'll second.
we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 6.6, discussion of possible action to amend the town ordinance 1.03.032 to ensure compliance with House Bill 1522 regarding the required posting timeline for meeting agendas. I put this on there, this is mine, I put this on here since Clark was going to be here because our current ordinance book clearly says 72 hours prior to tonight's meeting. Now, House Bill changed that, and I was going to see if that's something we go through you can reword that so that we can update our code of ordinances to get that checked. The other thing that I've been calling for a year was for the packets to be posted by Fridays so that members had the opportunity, as well as the public, to read through the packet, study the packet, find what they like, don't like, whatever, to be able to make an honest conversation up here on the channels. Our budget came in at 9:30 on a Sunday before Monday's meeting. And so I put that in here. I didn't know, Clark, if this is something that needs to be posted in that ordinance as well, so that we could say the agenda gets posted 3 business days prior, and the packet gets posted for the public online and to staff or council on Friday beforehand, or...
Yes, you can set parameters for town staff to follow as long as they're consistent with state law.
Okay. And
Yeah,
so...
we may not always want to have the packet be shared with the public. And most of the time we would. Transparency is a good thing, and I definitely believe in that, but sometimes there's confidential stuff because of closed sessions. That would be the only thing I'd.
Well, and potential changes. What we don't want to do is have it published so early that.
Right, yeah, changes. But I am all for transparency and making sure that everything we can share, we do share, for sure.
I was thinking like a Friday, if it used to be 72 hours that the agenda was posted, we could easily do 72 hours before the meeting, and the agenda's gonna get posted. I think Scott's do it on Tuesday, I think by law it's Wednesday. Is that correct? 3 business days would be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?
You don't count the first day.
Okay.
So it'd be Tuesday.
Okay, so Tuesday. So the agenda's out on Tuesday. I'm just asking that the packet comes out before Sundays so that we all have time to look at it. I know I spend a lot of time sometimes on some of the budget items, some of the other things trying to go through and figure it out, especially when, like JT pointed out, an error, and it's just not enough time if I get it on a Sunday night. So I would like council to consider just making, the state law took care of the agenda. We need to fix our ordinance. I would like to have the packet included in some kind of timeline for our staff to be able to get that to us.
So right now, there's no stated thing for the packet.
Correct.
That's what you're wanting to have.
To implement that into our ordinance as well. Yes.
Does it need, okay,
Is
so
that an
you
ordinance,
believe
or is that
it?
just a requirement to the staff?
Yeah,
I don't know, is that a policy or do we put it into the ordinance itself?
Awesome. Oh, we're going to-
Better to do it by policy than an ordinance, as far as giving direction to town staff.
And is that a policy that's dictated by the mayor or the council?
Council's, be best adopted by a resolution, really.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what we've done in the past.
Okay. Well, then,
So you're making a recommendation that
To council.
we have a resolution to,
well, yeah, I guess it would be to update the ordinance to reflect House Bill 1522, and then also to have a resolution on posting of the packet, say 72 hours prior to the meeting or whatever. That way we have guidelines for,
about just close of business on Friday.
Well, what if we have a special meeting, it's not a Monday?
Yeah, it needs to be a certain
yeah,
amount of time.
time probably would be better for that reason.
Yep.
Any other comments, questions?
So you can't actually make it.
I cannot make the motion.
So,
Okay,
we
are we
make a
just,
recommendation.
yeah, we're
for-
just asking,
To make a policy,
Right.
to make a resolution revolving around
The packet, I guess.
packet policy.
yeah, is there-
We don't have to make a motion on the change for 1522, that's just an update, correct?
Yes, I think I understand the direction given, so we'll just handle the drafting and bring it back at the next meeting.
I was gonna say, so I don't have to make a motion, we don't have to make a motion for you to bring that back at the next session?
Not unless a council member wants to make a motion.
yeah.
But the packet, we will have to do a resolution on that, correct?
Well, no, so he would generate the resolution. on
Oh,
the-
including the packet.
That's what he's saying.
But,
Okay.
but it needs to be on next month's agenda, that resolution, and it needs to be an agenda item.
So it's just one of us
Correct,
either send an email
Two
or,
separate agenda items.
Okay.
There you go.
That makes sense.
do you mind doing that, making sure that gets out on the agenda? You could separate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
And it sounds like we're all in agreement,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Just, we're just following state law.
Just, yeah, what I'm saying, well, I'm not talking about the state law part, I'm just saying if there was, to Councilman Trevino's point, if there was contention about what direction we're giving our council, then perhaps we'd call for a vote. But if we're all in agreement, this is just an instruction to him to
Yeah.
come back to us with a document that we can move forward with.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your clarification, appreciate that. 6-7, the discussable and possible action regarding personnel pay changes. I entitled it that, and I asked for specific information to be included in the packet. It did not get in the packet. I would request that we table this until the information that I asked for is included in there.
Need a motion for that?
Yes.
Okay.
I motion that we table 6-7.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion is tabled. So at this time, item number 7 is as authorized by Chapter 551, Subchapter D of Texas Government Code. The regular meeting will be convened into closed executive session under the following exceptions. Texas Government Code Section 551-071, consult with legal counsel regarding pending and contemplated litigation and/or matters in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with Chapter 551 of the Governmental Code zoning, various land use matters, and the town's official boundary map and ordinance relating to the town boundaries and related matters, other town ordinances. Wow, that's a lot. And B, Texas Government Code, Section 551-074, discuss and deliberate personnel matters. So, at this time, we'll go into executive session.
All right.
Coming back out of executive session at 9:42 to convene back to regular council meeting. What do we need? Do we have any action taken from executive session?
We do. I'm going to make a motion that an ordinance of the town of St. Paul, Texas, declaring that the receiving long-standing treatment as part of the town and being included in the town corporate limits, providing savings, severability, and repealing clauses, providing for an effective date, and we'll do that. And have to direct town staff to assign an ordinance number and file with the office of the town secretary.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. At this time, we don't have any other items.
Was there two?
Was there 2 coming out of executive session? Just the one, that was it. So, motion to adjourn.
I'll motion that we adjourn.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, meeting is adjourned.